Hey, moviegoers, Dimitri Panos here with an awesome episode of KDM. And I do mean awesome. And the K, the D, the M, the K stands for someone who's always awesome, Kit Bowen. How's it going, Kit? What's good?
Good.
I love the balloons.
What was that?
I have no idea, but it was like timed perfectly.
You
That's
do it.
great.
Do the peace sign. See if it happens for you. And this is the
Oh,
the
oh,
D of Dimitri. Peace sign.
peace sign.
Didn't
Peace
happen for
sign?
you.
No,
Didn't happen for you.
I get that sign. That's what I get. You get balloons. I get
Ah,
that. That was awesome, though. Like I couldn't have. I thought you just hit a button or
I
something
sure
because
didn't.
it was timed perfectly. Well, and it was what a great way, a happy way to start off
Yes.
a show. Again, it's Kit Dimitri. The N standing it stands for movies because that's what we do. We talk movies. And this week, just know we're going to be talking about a movie that's opened already for about a week. The movie we're going to talk about is Weapons. And also note right off top, going to be spoiler ridden because again the movie has been out for a week. We're assuming many have already gone to see it, and so we will talk spoilers. If you haven't seen it and plan to see it on its second weekend, uh, press pause and then go watch the movie, come
Yep.
back, and then nothing will be spoiled for you. In all honesty, look, I say this about all movies. You want to know less about a movie prior to going in, right? You would agree
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
This movie, even more so.
Yes.
Like I knew so little about this movie. So when certain things happened, I was like, okay. About the only thing I really knew about this movie, Kit, was Josh Brolin was in it, and it was about kids disappearing.
And
That
Julia
was that was
Gardner. Yeah. Josh
yes.
Brolin, Julian Gardner, and the kids disappearing. Yep, that was it.
Yeah, that's about pretty much what I knew of this movie. And yeah, the less I knew, the better for me as a movie going experience, I believe. So, yeah, watch the
Yes.
movie and come back. Would you
And
agree?
yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Okay,
So
so moving forward, here we go, guys.
moving forward, I'm going to give it over to Kit. I always defer, ladies first. Kit, what did you think of Weapons?
Well, here's the thing, there was a lot of hype about it. That's why, again, a week after it, it got a lot of great favorable reviews and a lot of great audience reviews as well. So, high expectations, which for me were met. I was intrigued with this movie from the get go. It's very original. I really thought this guy Zach Kreger, who I guess this is his second one. I'm not sure if he's did one prior to Barbarian or not, but
I am not
um,
sure, but we can look them up.
yeah. But Barbarian was his first one that he did, and one too just surprised the heck out of me because I had no idea what I was watching. You think you're going one way, and then all of a sudden it becomes this very weird breastfeeding mutant woman underneath the house. I don't know. It was very weird. And I liked that though. I liked that. This time around was a little more fluid in the fact that there wasn't anything too, weird. Well, there was some weird stuff, but nothing that kind of was just completely switched gears. So, the premise is that one night at 17 kids from one particular classroom taught by a very, newbie teacher played by Julia Garner disappear. And, the parents are all uh, freaking out. And they think maybe she had something to do with it. They kind of call her a witch. And one kid, the lone survivor of the classroom, is this young kid played named Alex. The kid who played him was really good. Um, and he's, and he can't really. She's trying to talk to him, and he won't. He just won't divulge anything. And then she follows him to his house, and this house is like, what's happening in this house? It's all papered up, and she sees like what seems to be the parents sitting, common sort of what would you call that word? Stone-fied,
Comatose.
comatose, but awake on the couch. Anyway, um, so and I liked how the framing of it. So it follows one particular character through a series of events, and then follows another character through a similar series of events based on their perspective and whatnot. So that was very, I thought that was well done too. But yeah, it was, it's basically a mystery, trying to find out what happened. And so each character kind of becomes involved in the mystery. And then we find out the mystery. Holy hell. So she's not even credited on the IMDb, but here's the big giant spoiler, guys. Amy Madigan, who I
Well,
adore. Side note, just a quick side note. She's married to Ed Harris, has been married to him forever and ever and ever. They
31
had
years, I think.
they had their baby the same day that I had Max. So
Well, look at that.
at Cedar Sinai, my mom, we were leaving the hospital, and my mom, Ed Harris, like walked by our car, and he locked eyes with my mom and looked in and saw Max, and he gave a really big smile. And so she'll always remember getting a smile from Ed Harris because we had a baby at the same time. Okay, so anyway,
Hey, that's a great aside. That's an awesome aside.
so they both have a 32-year-old child. We both do it. So anyway, Amy Madigan plays, she's a witch. I mean, that's basically what she is. And she comes into this poor kid's house, Alex, and starts, she's got cancer, I assume, some sort of, something like that, and she might feed off of souls. I think that's kind of um, you know, sort of the gist of what she's doing. And she thought maybe coming in and feeding off the souls of poor Alex's parents was going to work. Now, I don't know why she didn't make Alex. I guess maybe because that would have caused too much. Um, they would have come to search the house and stuff, and that probably wouldn't have worked. So she decides, hey, how about all of your classmates? Let's see if that'll help me get better. And Alex says, well, if you get better, will you leave? Basically, she's like, yeah, I'll leave. So then there's this horrifying thing that she does to get everybody to come to the house, and she ends up using that kind of power to turn people in the town as well. And it's just very gruesome at parts, but also funny in parts. I mean, at the ending, I think everyone's talking about, being that, she finally gets her comeuppance, so to speak, by being chased
Right.
by the 17 kids who have been broken out of their, well, sort of half broken out of their trance, whatever it is. And
Well, they're
they come out.
weaponized. Let's
They're
just say that.
weaponized. Yes, they're weaponized. And it's kind of funny. She's like, ah, and she's really, they really give her all kinds of weird makeup and hair and all this. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I couldn't believe it was that long. I looked at the clock when I came out, and I went, wow, that was like almost 2.5 hours long, and I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it. And he's the director, is a very writer director. He crafts things well. I mean, I know you had some issues. We talked a little bit last night about it, but you can describe your issues. But I didn't. I thought it was just pretty entertaining from start to finish. So I'm kind of excited about him as a filmmaker and see what he ends up doing next. If he moves away from horror, does something else, or that kind of thing. But he's really got an interesting viewpoint on horror, kind of like Jordan
Uh-huh.
Peele. Jordan Peele
Yeah,
has done similar situations where he's
sure.
taken normal, what seems to be normal scenarios, and twisting it around. So anyway, I liked it a lot.
Um, I agree with you where I like him as a director. He knows the mechanics of horror, and I believe that this movie was put together even better than Barbarian. He really does know how to set up a shot, a scene. This movie is not without some really good creepiness to it. There's a
Mhm.
lot of good creepiness to it. Some jump scares, but it's not predicated on jump scares. Hell, I
Yeah.
would even go a step further and say the movie is not predicated on gore. Even though there's some in
Right.
there, it's not predicated on it. It really is its focus is the characters and the story and the way in which the story is told.
Right.
As you said, it's done in chapters, and the chapters are the names of our characters, and it's done
Yeah.
in such a way where it kind of time jumps because it's
Hmm.
done like each chapter is done through the eyes or the focus of the character in which it claims the chapter is. And I appreciated that aspect. As far as Amy Madigan goes, you know, she was so like I mean, you can't figure out who it was. Like I heard the voice, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I know that voice. I
Yeah.
heard the
You
voice.
know
I'm
what?
like,
I
wait,
confused her at first with that one actress. She's really tiny and she always plays kind of, she's got a voice like this, and she always plays kind of creepy characters too, or like mean, menacing characters. So I thought at
right.
first it was that actress, and I don't know her name off the top of my head, but then I went, oh no, 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 this is somebody else. Wait, wait, wait. And I actually finally got it. I went, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get it until like the very like on the car ride home because it
Oh,
was
okay.
like, or actually the credits too. She was in the end credits. But
Right.
it's really funny because like the first things that I go, I know that voice. I know that voice. Uncle Buck, Field of Dreams. Uncle Buck, Field of Dreams. What is her name? But she is so in disguise.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I will point out, I do believe her performance, everyone's performance in the movie was very good. Her performance,
Right.
I I likened to Alicia Witt's performance in another horror movie from, I believe, last year, Long Legs, in which
Yes.
she too
Yes.
played against a type. And Alicia Witt was excellent. Amy Madigan was excellent.
Yeah.
Very creepy. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
um, and again, I do believe that uh, Gregors he's a solid director. However, his writing for me, I he's he suffers to me. He suffers from something that it's a horror movie trope, and it's
Mm.
something that you usually find in a slasher film, like a Friday the 13th movie, and I call it "you're going the wrong wayism,"
Yeah.
meaning the character's like, oh, we can get away in the car, or we go into the barn with all the sharp objects and knifey things. Let's go into the barn, or let's go down this creepy hallway when we could just get the hell out.
Yeah.
Again, in this movie, he never
But
gives
but
his characters common sense. And that to me, like it bothers me. Like the first 10 minutes, which we focus on Justine, she's stalking a 10-year-old. I mean, that to me was horror. Like, I was like, and she was told, stay away from him, leave him alone. And it was done in a way, and we have to talk about the principal.
Benedict
What's his
Wong.
name?
By the way,
Benedict Wong.
the actress I was thinking of, her name is Catherine Hunter.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
actress. Yeah, she's the one I was thinking of. That I thought it
Yeah.
was at first. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I just felt that Benedict Wong did it, and he said something. He's like, "Look, no." He's like, "See, your problem is that you're making this about yourself. You need to." He goes, "No, leave the child alone. Let the child be." Yet she still followed him in her car. She more or less stalked him. She trespassed, and I get it. It moves the
Yeah,
plot forward.
she's a problematic character. She obviously
But
has her demons.
I think everybody in this movie, with the exception of Benedict Wong, Marcus, and the sheriff. Um, I
The
think that
policeman.
they're
Yeah.
he's the older guy, the sheriff of the department.
Oh, you're not
That
talking
that
about the
no,
the
I'm not
cop guy.
talking about. Yeah, I'm not talking about
Yeah,
what's
I
his
know who you're
name,
talking about.
who was also very good too. Alden Ehrenreich as Paul. I'm talking about his. I'm not going to his maybe future father-in-law,
Right.
because Josh
No, his
Brolin goes to
father-in-law,
talk
they're
to him.
married. Yeah, anyway,
Oh,
keep going.
they
Go
were
ahead.
married. I thought they were
Yeah.
getting married. So those two characters were actually like good characters, and Josh Brolin is kind of a dick. He
At first.
blames Justine at first. Look, he goes against Justine, right? He's citing her out, which to me none of that made sense. Like, why would you blame her when there was one kid? Like, what is that
Because they
like the
don't have
star
anybody
student?
else to blame.
Yeah, I kind of get that. But then he did something that was even dickier. And that's like he goes to a house of one of the children. He goes to the house to visit the parents of one of the missing children. He speaks to the wife, who's obviously is distraught. He asks, "Hey, can I see your video footage of the thing?" And she's like, "You know what? I'm really not comfortable with that." He goes, "Okay, I get it." And what's he do? He does a go around. And we see Justin Long, who has a great little mini cameo in the movie, and he goes to the husband and he goes around the wife's wishes. And I'm like, oh man, that's kind of a dick move. Um,
So that
so
bothered
the
you.
characters, well, yeah, because like if I was the wife, I mean, you don't think the wife was going to have words with the husband saying, I told him no.
But that's
So
okay. I mean, look, they're
I
trying
don't think it is.
ultimately their motives might not have been might not have been very trust or morally great or whatever, but they're both trying to solve this mystery from a distraught father's point of view. And they're both having these horrible dreams about this weird clown-like person popping up in them, and so they're both trying to solve this mystery. He's trying to find his son. He's bereaved. She's trying to clear her name because she's, she doesn't know.
Right.
They kind of give you a sense of her as well. She has a drinking problem. In the past, she's been inappropriate with kids, probably because she hugs them or she would have takes them home or whatever the case may be. And,
Right.
so she's not going about it the right way, but they both have the same intentions, which is to try to find out what's going on. And the reason why they go to all these, they don't, how would you know in your wildest dreams that you had some weird witchy lady putting voodoo on people? And so that's why you shouldn't go to the house. I mean, no
You
one has those
wouldn't
sort
like
of.
no, I and then I understand. I know, but you just like what she did for me was just highly uncomfortable. And Benedict Wong's character as Marcus, he said something to the effect of, yeah, you don't drive if a student misses the bus, you don't drive
Absolutely.
them home. And that made me think for a second, going, wow, if it were, say, the 70s, right? My parents knew my teachers and my principal and things like that. And had I missed the bus, had a teacher said, "Oh, Dimitri, I'll take you home." Now we didn't have cell phones back then or whatever, and I would trust it, and my parents would trust that they'd get home. The parent would My parents would talk to the teacher. I'm not saying this happened, although I had tennis coaches or tennis instructors during the summer who drive me home because my mom, you knew everybody. Times have changed. Like that would not fly today, really. Right. So it was just very fascinating as I thought that through. But she was just making bad decisions. And the one
She
good
was.
thing that she did was calling up Marcus and saying, "Hey, this could be a social services problem.
Yeah.
Like we need to get this something. We need to do that." Josh Brolin. Then, of course, there is Paul, who's a police officer. He obviously has some issues. A recovering alcoholic. He arrests a drug addict whose name I forget the gentleman's name,
James.
but
James is the
James,
character name.
James. And
That was kind of
listen,
funny part too.
when he arrests him, he's like, "Do you have anything that's going to stick me? Do you have any needles?" He's like, "No." "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm sure." And when he reaches into a pocket, he gets stuck with a needle, and he knocks him out. Now, I got to be honest.
Clearly a
I
germaphobe,
didn't
right?
fault him for hitting him. It's
Clearly a
like you don't know what
germaphobe,
that
yeah.
needle is. Oh, yeah. but he too has his issues. And again, the movie had a lot of people going the wrong way, including James, who does break into the house, who does see some things that are beyond not normal. And he still decides, oh, yeah, I'm still going to stay in the house. And he finds the kids like in a dark basement. And he's like, okay. And he doesn't get the hell out. And I'm like, yet later in the movie, when he's going back to his tent in the forest, he sees the old lady waving. It kind of reminded me of Pennywise. It was
Oh
creepy,
yeah.
creepy. And what does he do? Then he runs. Then he runs. And I'm like, okay, it's just, I don't know. At the end of the day, it did deliver creeps. The end, the last, what would you say, 15? It was the last reel. So I'd say it was
Yeah.
like 10, 15 minutes long. It jumped into what I call John Landis absurdism and like over the top. All I could think about was the ending of Blues Brothers with the SWAT teams breaking windows and hut, 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 boom, boom, and like all these kids smashing through windows. Like it was funny. It was
Yeah.
funny in a
It
John
was
Landis
funny
kind of
and
way.
creepy at the same time. Yes.
Yeah, and what? But watching the neighbors'
I
reaction
know. We're
to
like,
the kids, like they're like, what? It totally reminded me of John Landis because that seems like something he would have done. And then when they tear her apart, there was enough arterial spray. It kind of that reminded me of a George A. Romero movie,
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so it checked all the boxes. Again, it was just characters in his movies. Like he doesn't write them with common sense, and that I don't know. It irks me. It makes me
I'm curious
uncomfortable.
though, why is this particular situation kind of irksome to you? But like in Halloween, where
Which
no one has
Halloween?
any common sense at all, like
Wait, which
Halloween,
Halloween? Which one? The original?
saying they all still go down to the I heard something downstairs, go downstairs, and boom, they're dead. I mean,
Well,
the
listen, a
same kind
Friday
of
the 13th
situation.
movie. No, it really isn't like because I can break down the 78 Halloween. Very interesting. A Friday the 13th movie, yes, but I don't put a Friday the 13th movie in the same like category as I would put this movie. To me, Friday the 13th is pure on slasher.
Yeah,
You
I know.
expect the
But what
kids
you
to be
said,
stupid, but this movie, like I expect it to be a little bit
it's kind of
smarter, a
like
little bit wiser. I
horror
put it in a
tropes.
higher bracket as
Horror
far
tropes
as
is that's what horror tropes
horror
are.
movies.
Yeah, all horror movies have that kind of situation. And you know what? You and I are sitting there going, well, I would never do that. But you know what? You might, because this is what I was just trying to say is that you don't think in your head that there's something horribly dangerous that could kill you, in this weird
Um,
way. I think that's basically what it is for any of these movies. Even the stupidest of horror movies, you're like, why would you go down to the basement? Don't be stupid. But you just don't
I
think.
could
I just try to put myself in the thing. Like I
I
wouldn't think
could
that would
partially
happen.
give that to you, but again, there's another scene, and again, it was filmed really well. Again, it's Josh Brolin, it's Justine,
Yeah,
and what was Josh Brolin's character's name? They uh, they were camping outside the house,
yeah,
and they noticed a cop car was there, and they said, "Oh, the police are here." And then all of a sudden, Archer. That's a good name, by the way. It's Josh Brolin.
yeah,
Archer and Justine are outside, and then the door opens. And we had a couple of those scenes where the door opens, and it's very creepy.
right,
And out comes Paul, the cop,
yeah,
Alden Earlrach, I think is how you pronounce his last name. And he comes out, doesn't go much farther than the front like step. And much like Gregory Peck as Captain Ahab strapped to Moby Dick, he's like, he does this, like
yeah,
motions them to come in a really weird way. And they don't question it. They don't go, that's what? That's weird. And then he turns around and goes away. And it's like, why don't we go to the cop car and maybe call the, like, something is not right here. But nobody does that in his
Well,
movies. I
because
mean,
look,
Barbarian.
I'm saying I just don't think that I understand where you have a problem with it, but I really don't. So, I guess
Yeah.
I see it as like, oh, they just don't know. They can't think of what could possibly go wrong
But
kind
they
of thing. I
could,
don't know.
but like the hairs in the back of their neck should like raise and go. There's something not
Well,
right
we
here.
know. That's why we
Well,
hate it.
and we shouldn't be that much smarter than our people, like our
We're
characters,
not
and
that
yet
much
they
smarter.
continue to.
We know what's going on because we've seen what the evil is.
But
So
but they but again, these people should have common sense.
I'm just
He
saying,
runs a
if that's
construction
what bothered
company.
you, if that's what bothered you the most about this movie,
Yeah.
I guess I just don't feel the same way because I just think,
Well,
it's a
I have
horror
the
movie.
same issue. Yeah, but that doesn't forget. Like again, I look. I think this year, and including this movie to an extent, I think this year has been a fantastic year for horror fans.
Yeah,
Honestly, I honestly
yeah,
do. We've had some really solid horror movies, and anything that gets people out to see a horror movie, I think is great. And regarding weapons is doing something I haven't quite seen outside of Sinners, which you can argue. I mean, it is a horror movie at its core, and Sinners was excellent. Um, Last night, it's a Thursday night, went to a 6:30 show, and I have to say, it was as close to being a sellout crowd
me too,
as I
me
could
too.
imagine for a Thursday night
Yep.
6:30
A-
show, right?
After it already being out a week.
Correct. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
big haul for a
yeah,
theater, right? For a
yeah,
movie that's out for a week. Add to that, just from overhearing conversations and things, this is just a guess. I don't have like hard concrete data, but I would say it was kind of like excuse me, a 60-40 split. 60% not akin to going to horror movies. Like horror isn't necessarily their jam, and 40% were horror fans. So
yeah.
60% weren't, I would say, your traditional horror fan who see anything horror, but they'll go out to see something that might be hyped up and talked about a lot.
Right.
So that was interesting. And it gets people out and it gets people talking. And again, the movie didn't make me angry. I but I had the same problem with Barbarian. Barbarian had that like a lot. And this movie again, I don't know, like with the whole thing with Justine at the beginning, I'm like, what are you doing? He told you don't like leave the kid alone. Um, yeah, it bothers me, but everything else about the movie, that it's set up, the way in which it was told was really good. And I
Yeah,
loved how each character you kind of time shifted a little.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you replayed something from another character, but you did it from their perspective. That was very clever. And to your point about it being a mystery, each character, as the movie goes along, unravels
yeah.
and figures out clues to the mystery up until you get to the very end of the movie. And
Right.
yeah, it's pretty creepy. And I didn't need to know the history of the witch. I didn't like what she was doing with the kids, like you brought up about sucking their, like, I to me that's kind of like the MacGuffin. You know that it was up to no good. She's a witch, and she was just up to no good. It was
But also
creepy.
she had cancer or something, so that was clearly her motivation was
Something,
to cure
yeah.
herself or
And she
whatever.
was
Yeah.
somehow related. She was
Yeah.
somehow related to the boy, like she was the boy's aunt or something.
Great aunt, yeah.
Um, so and again, just fabulously played by
Yeah.
Amy Madigan. I mean, she was great. She was
Yeah.
great, great, great.
Yeah. So
Um, you
I
know,
would give for star ratings, I would probably give this a solid 4.5. I really it's not quite five, but I definitely thought it was very, very well done. and thrilling.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I'm giving it a three. I think it's okay. I don't subscribe to all the hype, the pre-hype before it. I find, and again, I don't classify this type of a movie, just like I don't classify Sinners or even Silence of the Lambs along. I don't put them side by side with the Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't. I will let a Friday the 13th stuff slide. This one's a little bit more realistic. It's nonetheless creepy. And I thought the performances across the board, Josh Brolin was really good. And Julie Gardner, is that her name?
Hmm.
I I found her to be well, she was better here than she was in, say, Wolfman. She was good. I mean, the I can't point to a performance and say anything like that. The cinematography was good.
Right.
It was very creepy, and it's kind of funny, kid. I don't like the way the kids ran, or even Benedict Wong when he gets
That
hypnotized.
was really
But
creepy.
when you were I mean, I remember as a kid, running. If you spread your arms out like that, like it almost felt like you could run faster. Like,
Yeah.
but that was like the signature run in this movie. And again, the scene with Benedict Wong was and how it's presented, because I think at that point of the movie, we're seeing it from Archer's point of view.
Right.
And they're at the gas station, and Benedict Wong just comes and his eyes bulging out, and just the time, he knows the mechanics. He knows how to set stuff up and go, wow, okay, it's really good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And I would recommend it. I just don't put it on like it's not a five, not necessarily a four-star movie for me, but
Okay.
still recommended.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to continue to have a great hold this weekend
I think so.
too,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So if
Yep.
any indication, you had a crowded theater, I had a
I
crowded
did.
theater. And oh, how fun is it to watch a horror movie with a good crowd of people?
Yeah.
Like hearing people gasp or
Yeah.
hearing people like laugh.
I had a couple sitting next to me and she was hiding her eyes. Kind of like me.
Well, you're like one of the best people to watch a horror movie
Yeah.
with. I'm just gonna put
Yeah.
that out there. So yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
You did like it a little. You liked it more than me, but I
Yep.
don't necessarily. It didn't make me angry, and didn't make me almost angry. I thought it was okay, and I think for
Okay,
the
good.
craft, I would watch it again on streaming or
Okay.
whatever cable channel it
So
catches up on.
so just to do one quick little thing at the end here. I didn't get a chance to see it, but you did. So briefly, sir, talk about Nobody 2, the sequel to that very fun action thriller with Bob Odenkirk. What did you think of Nobody 2?
Well, I'll tell you, nobody kind of came out of nowhere.
Nobody.
Nobody came out of nowhere, right? And it's Bob Odenkirk. You saw the trailer, like going into this action genre, and the movie was surprisingly good, and it's surprisingly fun, very
Yeah.
violent. Nobody too. You knew that a sequel was coming, and look, the way I kind of describe it is, it's a house of hits. If you liked Nobody, you're gonna have a blast with Nobody too. I think it's a little bit tonally different. The violence is very amped up. There are great fight scenes, but there's also a lot more humor in this movie. I was actually genuinely surprised as to how much I was laughing um, at the movie, like for good reason.
Hmm.
And it just played a tad different, which is kind of what you want from a sequel, right? Even
Right.
it had the same cadence as the original movie. However, the cat's out of the bag. Like, we
Right.
know who Hutch Menzel is, right? So
Right.
what do you do with that? So, well, he's trying to he's trying to have a family life, and like where the first movie he represses that violent nature, this one he's just trying to suppress it. And what happens is like, and it's, you could say it's by his own fault because he kind of interjects his way into it. But so basically, he takes his family on a vacation. They go to the spot where he and his brother and his dad, played by Christopher Lloyd, uh,
Right.
took he and his brother on their one and only ever vacation. It was kind of like a Lake Winnipesaukee kind of a place where it has water parks and arcades and tiki themed rooms. And they go there, and one little event leads to another. And you realize, or Hutch realizes, there's an undercurrent of corruption in this town, and it's all headed by this crime boss, played deliciously by Sharon Stone. Let me tell you, Sharon Stone's
Oh.
in this movie.
Oh,
She
yay.
is
I love her.
fantastic. She can chew up the scenery as well as any other male actor counterpart, like an Al Pacino or something. She is great. Um, and again, Bob Odenkirk is fantastic in this movie, as is the woman who plays his wife, whose name escapes me right now.
Nielsen,
Yes, Connie
Connie,
Nielsen.
Connie.
Connie Nielsen.
Yep. Yep.
And she's given some good ample time on screen. But the other thing too, Christopher Lloyd,
Yeah.
man, that man is a gem. Can I
Yeah.
tell you? Because every scene he's in, it's just
Yeah.
great. Like he'll make you laugh, and he's funny, and he's still kind of playing a little bit actiony. You
Yeah.
can tell he's up there in years. So, but man, when he's like shooting off a gun or something, it's just great to watch him. I found the movie to be equally as entertaining as Nobody. I give it a solid 4 stars. Again, if you like the first one, you're going to have a lot of fun with this one. Think a little bit National Lampoon's Vacation. Um, you know, and it's done by, what is it, 82 North, who are known for uh, stunts. They do a lot of
Hmm.
stunts, and there's a lot of great fight scenes. If you thought some of the fight scenes in the first Nobody were like bare knuckle brawlers, there's a lot of good ones here. And had it not been for this other movie that came out in the summertime, I would say it would be a great candidate for best stunt movie. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it comes out the same year as Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
So I think you'll have a good time watching Hutch Menzel uh, be put into a situation where he's trying to make amends with his family, and he's like he can't just keep that temper down, and that's where I think a lot of the humor comes from this time because we already know him. And the other thing I like about him is that he has a good moral compass. Like
Right.
whatever he does, he's doing for the right of, like if somebody brushes his daughter, it's like that enrages a parent. So look, I'm going to say it right here. There's only been two Nobody movies. I like the Nobody movies better than John Wick.
Hmm.
And they have this, there's always a gunfights. But I find them more entertaining. And this one even has a little bit of heart to it too.
Huh.
Um, like I said, it's tonally a tad different than the first one, but it's nonetheless it's a fun movie. And if you love Nobody, I don't see why you wouldn't like this one.
Yeah.
So
All right. Okay.
go
What would
see
you rate it?
Nobody 2.
What was your
I would give Nobody 2 4 because it
okay.
was better than it had any right to be for a sequel. And I didn't anticipate it, and I appreciate the swing that it takes, and not just recopying everything about from the first one and make it a little bit
Right.
tonally different. And you get more of his family too, which is kind of cool. Like they're
Yeah.
good. It's good stuff. It's
Cool,
good stuff.
cool.
You'll have fun.
All right. I'm
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it eventually. So, but I thought maybe we should just cover it here. Okay, well that sounds great. I think we got a good start to August already,
Yeah.
which is sort of new. We usually August is usually doldrum months, but been a pretty good start to it. So
August has been this whole summer
yeah,
has been, I think, a treat for moviegoers. And box office wise, when you look at a movie like Weapons, Weapons really has taken
yeah.
the theatrical box office by storm. It continues to do so.
Hmm.
And good, get people out, get them talking about horror. And I think that is always a good thing. And there's a couple of other movies coming out later this month that look like they could also be pretty fun. So looking forward.
Yeah.
And we got Jaws.
Oh yeah.
Jaws 50th anniversary release.
I guess we'll probably have to do one little. I mean, I mean, how much more can
Yeah.
you say about Jaws? The perfect movie. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Thanks, everyone. And make sure to subscribe and like and tell your friends and comment. Let us know what you think about the films we talked about, or if there's a
Yeah.
horror film you really love, just mention it in the comments. And any kind of stuff like that would be fun.
Agreed. Agreed. And also, we should shout out to our one fan, A Beautiful Swan Music. I'll go by just to say hi. Hey, hope you enjoy. Get other people to watch. This is good stuff. And yeah, we'll see you at the movies.
See you at the movies. Bye.